Hi YouTube, this is America in Crisis. We're out here in Bakersfield, California, documenting the struggle with drugs and homelessness. And this is Anthony, and he's agreed to be on camera. You agree to be on camera and tell your story, Anthony?
Yeah, I agree.
All right. Here's Anthony's story. How'd you get involved in the drugs that led you to this?
You know, growing up out here in Bakersfield, drugs have pretty much always been part of my life. You know, from my family to an adult. I started getting in trouble at a young age, you know, and so I went to prison my first time when I was 18, and I proceeded to go 15 times after that. So I have a lot of time in prison. I was always like adolescent, you know, and didn't want to mind nobody or whatever, but I was already in trouble, so it's harder to get a job. You know, I don't have a high school diploma, and everybody nowadays has degrees if they're getting a job, you know. It's just like, so the streets pretty much accepted me for what I am and who I am, a drug addict, and I found people of my caliber out here. I found more comfort out here than I did at home with my family, my mom and my siblings and all that. And so I come out here, and it's just part of me, you know. And then every time I'd go to prison, I'd get sober, and I'd say I'm gonna do the right thing, and then I'd get out, and the streets would be a little more worse. You know, people that I knew that were doing good, that I kind of looked up to and stuff, had already fallen and was using now, and you know, their lives are falling apart and shit. So I don't know, man.
Have you ever tried treatment? Has that ever worked for you?
Like I said, I got 20 some odd years in the system, and there's all kinds of this. The R on the end of CDC stands for in rehabilitation. Okay, I don't know what they're rehabilitating or whatever, but all I ever did was get locked up, and it was like I was getting grounded or something, you know. But they put the chain on me, the leash. I couldn't wait till the day I get out so that I could party and feel the buzz again, you know, and get wasted, have a good time, and you know, and that just led to all my hopes and dreams that while I was sober in prison, the things I'm gonna do and promising my family and this and that, all that shit went right out the window every time.
So prison didn't rehabilitate you, is what you're saying?
No, not at all. I mean, they had to put the money somewhere, so they had to put an R on the end of it. It didn't go for no. They started these little classes here and there, but that fell quick. You know, it's like, I don't know. Prison helped me a lot to become, you know, a man, I guess you could say. But also, it hindered me because I have no special skills out here. You know, I'm not computer savvy. I you know, I'm pretty much just derelict in Bakersfield. I have no society has no use for me really, because I'm not a productive member and active community of society out here, and I don't have a good job, and I'm not paying my taxes, and I'm not doing none of that. So what I am doing is running around, spending every penny I can get my hands on drugs and fentanyl, and you know, that's where it's at. And to tell you the truth, it's a horrible life, but it's like, it's also very magnetic. And I hate to say it, you know? I mean, I miss this lifestyle when I'm locked up, you know? I do. I miss being out here and having a good old time. And parents if I don't got nowhere to sleep. I've been up long enough to wherever I fall out, it's perfect for me. You know what I mean? And a lot of people out here do care. I mean, I know that they people do care. The people just stop and drop off food all the time. You know, waters. In the winter, they drop off blankets and sleeping bags and stuff. And they really care, and they're trying the best they can, but there's just nothing for us. So then you got situations like I have a terminally ill mother, and she's on SSI, and that's the only income her house has. You know what I mean? It's just her and me. I mean, I take care of her a lot, but I don't get paid for her, nothing, and this and that. I don't stay with her, I don't live with her, because I'm always out here. I do check on her, and I take care of her the best I can. And that being said, she's forced to stay in a ran down ass motel. You know, the slumlord of the slumlords, only in probably the worst part of Bakersfield we have. And she's 72, she never goes outside of the neighborhood. She can't get a place Because why? She don't have the energy, she don't have the ability and the mobility to go to do all these flood meetings that they need her to go to. You know, you got to do this, got to do that, you got to go here, you got to do. She can't do all that, so she's not eligible for these new apartments that are popping up everywhere. You know.
So there's a struggle for homelessness and getting homing out here in Bakersfield, California.
There's
You're saying
definitely a struggle. What it is they're building apartments, big, nice, beautiful apartments every day. But apparently there's people who aren't signed up for those apartments, you know, because they're not available to us. You have to have Section 8. You have to have this and this and that, this and that. And like I said, my mother's 72, and that's the only income. So she's probably gonna die right there where she's at, you know, in a slum down, little bitty ass run down hotel room. You know, I'm on 72, and yeah, she's not perfect, you know, but like I said, my whole life I've been around drugs, you know, from my family on. My mother used, my whole life she used, and she still uses to this day. So, that being said, you know, we're stuck. We are stuck.
Have you seen an increase in homelessness and drug addiction in Bakersfield in the last few years?
Honestly, absolutely I have. I've seen the homeless crowd go from certain people here. You know, back in the day it used to be like, oh, look at that bum with that shopping cart, you know what I mean? Now it's almost like China with shopping carts around here. Like China has bicycles, we got shopping carts. And everybody's pushing a shopping cart in a buggy or some sort, you know what I mean? That's all they have to their name. And now the cops are coming and taking that every time they get a chance. They take it all from you, you know? They take everything from you and they just throw it away right in front of you in the back of this big old truck with this crane, and they're taking you to jail because you're a public nuisance, because you're homeless, because you don't have a home. Not only that, if you have a shopping cart or something with stuff in it, they say you park it off the side on the sidewalk or something, now you're obstructing the sidewalk from people walking by, they say, even if there's not a soul in sight. And they're charging you with that. So basically, we're going to jail, we're in trouble because we're homeless, okay? Do you think any of us really want to be homeless? I don't think so. I know we enjoy the nightlife. I call it the nightlife. I enjoy the nightlife out here. You know, it's dangerous, it's treacherous, but if you know how to survive, you know how to survive. That being said, you don't have a choice. You know, at the end of the day, they don't have porta potties out here. They wonder why the fight gets so nasty and so dirty. There's not trash cans. There's no trash cans available. And if there is a dumpster, it's locked under lock and key. You know, for that company or that specific people only. So the rest of it, the trash has got nowhere to go. So maybe if they invested in some, you know, some trash cans, some big dumpsters, and just put them randomly around places, you know, in like an area like this, instead of having them under lock and key behind a brick wall for one establishment. And that's why they get all this trash, because there's nowhere to put it. Second thing is yes, homeless people have to use the restroom, don't they? Don't you? Don't everybody have to use the restroom? Okay, well, if you don't have a home, that probably means you don't have a restroom. That probably means you don't get to have the decency of going in privacy and using your own restroom and cleaning up after you're done. No? What do you get? You get to hide in the corner real quick and hope to God nobody sees you. You know? But you still got to use the restroom. You know?
Do you think there's anything that could help